So the big coronation is tomorrow. Within hours, the king will be officially crowned. He is the king already, but he will have his official coronation. The first coronation that we have had in 70 years, the first coronation of many of ours a lifetime, because we have not watched the king's coronation. I am wearing a copy of the Lover's Knot tiara tonight because why not? When is a commoner like myself ever even allowed to wear a tiara? And I just thought I would put it on. So we're going to discuss, though, a topic. It's controversial. Some people are like, hey, the popularity of the monarch is going, of the monarchy is going downhill. So will this be the last coronation ever? We're going to discuss that. Hello, everybody. I'm Deanna from Hot for History. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is going to be the last coronation ever? I'm going to read the statistics. I'm going to read where that comes from. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the coronation schedule. We're going to talk about, whether or not Harry has been seen. We're going to talk a little bit about Camilla, yada, yada, yada. We're going to talk about it all because the coronation will be forthcoming within just I think 8 hours from now. There will be an official start or travel for the royal family from Buckingham Palace into Westminster Abbey. Hello, everybody from North Virginia, from Florida, from Maryland, from Tampa Bay. I feel like E.H. Bunny is my sort of like my fact checker, and it's always good to have one. Hello from Austin, Texas. Let's talk about this. I discussed this the other night. I was saying, hey, do you think this is the last coronation? And nobody thinks that the monarchy is dying, but if you look at the different percentages of the demographics, what time, Stacey? I'm going to go through that, but at Eastern time, if you want to watch the arrivals, hello, 5 a.m. Yeah, 5 a.m. So right after this, I'm going to go to bed because I'm going to probably get up around 5:30 or 6 to watch at least when they go into Westminster Abbey. Americans discussing things not their business. Why is this not my business? This is my business. It's absolutely my business. Thank you. I've got others. I've got an imitation of, I've got this one. This is from a company called Sweet V. This is not like the Home Shopping Network. Sweet V crowns. If you want 15% off, it's DEANNA 15. I'm not trying to promote that necessarily, but hey, why not? I just wanted to wear the crowns. I have 6 of them. They're heavy, guys. But this one is my favorite because it's like the Lover's Knot tiara. It looks like it. They don't call it that, I think. I think they call it the Diana crown. But anyhow, I don't want to digress because I want to talk about this. 5 a.m. King Charles is going to make me lose sleep. Oh, well. And I think you can watch it on the BBC. You can watch it on Sky News. You can watch it all over YouTube. The monarchy is dying. The people are losing interest in it. That's why King Charles is paring it down. And yet there are people like Princess Anne that's like, there's no need to be paring it down because I'm working too hard. Okay, so I am Deanna from Hot for History. Please do subscribe. Let me talk about what my friend from Tampa Bay is discussing right now about will the royal family, survive? Will William, because so many of us, we want William and Kate to be on the throne. We just want to bypass what we're going through here, and that's what we want to see. So I'm going to read this, and then we can discuss it because I want you guys to have some context as to where this is coming from me, because so many people are like, I think Les popped on here the first, and he's like, the monarchy is not going to die. It'll be around forever. I saw some interviews online last night. So many people are like, oh no, it's not dying. It's going to be around forever because England needs it. But then I was listening to these Scottish Republicans. Again, not to get political, and from the American side, Republicans mean that they are not really monarchists. And the Scottish guys are like, hey, no, they're spending too much money. We don't like it. So I'm going to read these polls here, and then I want you guys to think, yeah, and I'm sorry, I have a little bit of ADD. I'm all over the place. Yes, Monica, we're going to try to figure that out. If you guys know, let me know. I'll tell you what I know, and then you tell me what you know. Okay, about Harry especially. Okay, so Britons are more likely to say their views of the monarchy have worsened than improved over the past decade, according to the CNN poll, suggesting that King Charles III is facing serious challenges on the eve of his coronation. Of course, it's all like roses, everything's smelling great right now, but behind the scenes, it's difficult times. He says when he will be officially crowned as the head of an institution that has endured years of internal upheaval. Now, for many years, they've been saying the monarchy is dying. That is true. But more than 1/3 of UK adults say their opinion of the family has become more negative than it was. That's kind of a high percentage. Queen Elizabeth's death last September brought to an end an era that was defined by the late monarch's steadfast dedication to duty. That was true. But just 21% say their views on the royal family have gotten more positive over the past decade, with another 41% saying their overall opinion has stayed the same, and 3 in 10 people say they have become very much less interested in news about the family over time, while 22% say they've grown more interested. Like, honestly, if there's ever been a point where they should be interested, it should be now. So if the percentages are low right around the coronation, it doesn't bode well for them. 22% say they have grown more interested. A little less than half say that interest level hasn't changed. Most Britons say they plan to take part in at least one event this weekend. So they like the stuff. They like the tradition related to the coronation, which is set to be a magnificent display of tradition and pageantry. But the public celebration of the new king comes at a time when decades of demographic, religious, and societal change have resulted in shifting attitudes toward the monarchy. This is why I asked the question, is the monarchy going to last? Is this the last coronation that we're going to see, guys? Well, it's the last that we may see. No, I mean, we may end up seeing William have his coronation too, but there's George there. I mean, is that going to happen, or is it what's going to happen in the future? Okay. And then it says there's a generational divide. UK residents are split in their level of interest in the coronation, the polling suggests, while broader views about the royal family and its members marked by generational divides. So half of the UK adults say they're interested in the coronation, with only a fifth describing themselves as very interested. In a nutshell, people aren't as interested. But okay, so let's see. Yeah, Deborah, I kind of agree, but I don't think that's going to happen. Do you think he's going to step aside after waiting so many years? But it would be nice to have kind of a young, hip monarchy, Most say they plan. Okay, so it says those over 55 and older are roughly 10 percentage points likelier than younger adults to say they're interested in the coronation. 37% of people 35 to 54 and just 31% of those younger than 35 say they intend to watch the event. That's for people in the UK. And many young Britons express their indifference. They really don't care either way. They honestly do not care. Ahead of the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations last June, CNN spoke to young people in the UK who cited factors with British colonialism to a lack of diversity. Now, see, this is where Meghan, when she came in, we were all so excited because of that, because she was doing a great job in the beginning, and then goodbye. Okay, adults younger than 35 are more likely than their older counterparts to say they're planning to participate in a volunteer effort. Women are 10% likelier. Okay, so in a nutshell, what they're telling us is that it's not looking so great. So let me look at your comments. Okay, so King Charles says he will modernize the monarchy, but I don't know which generation is he referring. Is it the 60s or the 2020s? I don't know. I mean, you could even look, as much as I like Lionel Richie, because I'm excited because I like his music and stuff, but even that if you look at who is kind of performing and speaking, I know Katy Perry's a little bit younger. Even that demographic is older. It just is. So all of that, what he says about modernizing, you're right. I agree with you. And Camilla, the mistress of King Charles. Okay, Jude, I want to talk about this for 1 second because I had to get something off my chest, and then I uploaded this longer video about what would it be like if Princess Diana was queen. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I didn't mention this in the video, but I think the reason why Camilla still has that little kind of cloud over her, even though they've done amazing work at kind of making people like her, in spite of the fact that years ago she, had that mistress thing going on. I think at the end of the day, this is what it is. I feel like Diana had natural charisma, and she had that it factor. She just did. She had that it factor that if Charles had been really smart, they would have seen that even her rebellion, whatever that was, going a little bit again, like that there were some genius things that she did naturally that was a huge asset to the royal family. And in my opinion, Camilla can't live up to that no matter how much press they do, because it's an internal element of who a person is. And I just feel like Diana had that thing. Anyhow, I know that was not what you were talking about, Jude, but I just had to mention it because I finally felt like I got to the core of why is it that some people like myself are still like, okay, I want to give Camilla the benefit of the doubt because they've been together a long time. It's a great love story in some ways, but Diana was so, there was something, there's sparkle to her. Even with her depression, even with her junk, there was still a sparkle to her. Okay, King Charles III will never live up to the reputation and legacy of his mother. Absolutely, he will not. However, he is his own person, and he may surprise everybody. That is true. Unfortunately, he's old. That's true, and won't sit on the throne that long. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the microphone. Yeah, I think there are elements of him that I can tell. Like what I'm noticing with him with Harry, it's like there are sometimes when King Charles seems so harsh, but he seems like he's sort of like a teddy bear, like in the way that he's responded to even his son. Honestly, he hasn't been that tough with him, in my opinion. I know a lot of people who would have said, please just don't come, like go through your personal crisis or whatever, just leave, but he's been very soft in many ways. So I think there are some endearing things about him. I have a feeling that he was kind of, he's spent his life kind of getting his way, and that's why he has those tantrums sometimes if like the ink spills on his hands, which if he has to sign the contract at the coronation and there's ink on his hands, I don't know what will happen. I don't like Charles either for years. I did not like him for years. He seems a decent guy. I loved Princess Diana, but we have to move on. That is true. Coronation is tomorrow. So that is true. And to give Camilla, we had I don't know if it was last night where we were talking about is Queen Camilla going to be a good queen or bad queen? No, it was the night before. And the thing is that she will be a good queen. Will she have that extra sparkle? I don't know, but she will be a good queen. And it is true. They've been together for almost 20 years at this point. Not together. They've been married for almost 20 years, and they've been together much longer. So it is true. I needed to get that off. I just needed to express myself with that. But to give her the benefit of the doubt, I do think that they're like this, and she's going to be the queen. He can't step aside. The last monarch to do so was disgraced in the move. Well, yeah, and if he had stepped aside, it should have been before he even married Diana to marry Camilla in the first place, but that never would have happened. Queen Elizabeth would never have allowed her son to have done that. Never. Okay, I think everyone's just watching for the inevitable. Prince William is more than prepared to take, the task, and he will be an amazing queen with Kate on the side. She's amazing, and when you watch them like work a crowd and kind of be side by side like that, I think they're incredible. They ought to use the money they spend, yes, on from this pomp and circumstances and keeping the royal family to feed and house the homeless. 1,000% true. They are having I think that last day, what is it called, guys? I'm sorry, the big give back or something. It's called something like that. The last day, but they're saying only 10% of the people who are into the coronation are actually going to be participating in that. So I do like the monarchy, but I feel this is Julian. I feel like they treat them like the rule of the world and like they deserve more than the rest of England. Yeah, well, that's because of there's this natural kind of odd hierarchy thing. Okay, I agree with you, but I think Kate has that too. Kate has the you think Kate has the sparkle? I think she has the sparkle. Is that what you're talking about, Deborah? Okay, hail King Charles. Yeah, and that's another thing I want to ask everybody. So, are you guys on board for this thing where you have to pledge allegiance to this king? One guy who was a friend of the king said that the king is kind of mortified over that. And yet I think that's kind of natural. It's like a longstanding thing. But in these days, do we pledge allegiance to these people like that? I don't know. But I think it's also tradition. So I'm very confused on that subject. I don't think he's trying to live up to his mother's legacy either. I think he's creating his own. I think he's been trying to create his own for a while. And I think his mother kind of let him. I think she was like, okay, we're entering into this whole new time, that it's going to be yours. So yeah. So you guys were asking about, and then I'll get to more of these questions. Alexis, yes, somebody else. I heard somebody else does put toothpaste on his toothbrush. He likes his bath a certain temperature, and if it's all wrong, he freaks out. I've heard such dramatic things, like he even brings a toilet with him, his own toilet, like has a toilet person. I don't know. Okay, King Charles used to be the front runner on the environment and global warming, but he has been quiet on the subject since accepting a suitcase. Oh, girl, I know that was so dramatic, and that's what there's a sketchy kind of undercurrent where there's times when we go, oh, maybe Harry knows more than we think. I don't know. I believe he's going to try be his own man, but that he won't be compared to the legacy of his mother he left behind. I just don't see that happening. His mother was loved and adored, and she had been around for so long. And she did make it look so easy because it was just, kind of like business as usual. Everything was just running smoothly. But whenever you make a big shift like this, it's going to be like this. It's going to be crazy, right? Okay, so where is Harry? I've heard that he's there, and I heard that he actually has the Frogmore estate until right after the coronation, but many people are like, oh no, he's not going to be hanging out there. So I don't think any of us really know where Harry is. We do know that this article's out, which I don't think is a surprise, but I'm just going to read it anyhow. The coronation's okay. Ahead of the coronation, along with Prince William and Kate, they greeted well-wishers at Buckingham Palace. Of course, Harry was nowhere to be found around there. The Prince and Princess of Wales later met with guests. They're having like a VIP dinner tonight. Harry will not be there, but Prince Harry is expected to wear a morning suit rather than a military uniform. We are not surprised by that. He arrived in the UK a day before the Slim Down affair Saturday. So he came in on Friday, and then they talk about all these people. The Duke of Sussex will attend the ceremony without Meghan and their children who remain in California. This is all that I'm seeing. So I did hear that Charles snubbed the Earl Spencer, Princess Diana's brother. I don't know if Charles Spencer would call it a snub. I heard him interviewed and he really could care less. He's just not that into it. He's just not. But they're calling it a snub that, his son's uncle was not invited to the coronation. The Spencer family, I mean, they're connected. They have a lot of money, and I don't know. And obviously they're very close to his kids. So I don't know, probably because of his connection to Diana. Maybe that's why. Preparations for the coronation also include the king's close friends. Jonathan Dimbleby claimed today that the monarch would be horrified at the thought of the public pledging their allegiance to him. Well, but he's the king. So why then, if he's horrified by that, why is he saying that they should do that? I don't understand. And the weather is supposed to be rainy, guys. So it's supposed to be bad. Okay. So yes, Harry is there, but he's supposed to be sitting 10 rows back. I do hope that people give him the opportunity. I think he has a lot of support at the same time. I think that I don't feel, I mean, I do think there's the Not My King campaign, but I don't think it's as bad as, I mean, I think people are not brutally against him. I think, except for a little faction of people that are the not my king people, I think they're just blah about him. It's like William and Kate, there would be like this excitement, right? I just don't think that there's a passion for him, but I also don't think that there's like a repulsion. Think people are like happy that he's that way, but they're not ecstatic. That's my interpretation. Americans do have to bow to King Charles. Okay, explain yourself. Um, it says we have to pledge allegiance to the king. Okay. I would like to see what you have to say, girl. Americans do not have to bow. Okay, good. I was hoping you were saying that. Who's staying up? I'm going to sleep and then I'm going to get up. The toilet seat. Okay, good. Let's get to the important stuff. It's a pledge allegiance to everyone in the royal family. Okay, even Piers Morgan has a problem with that. And then I've heard other people. I've heard what's her name, Kinsey Schofield. She has a podcast, To Die For, and she's a top royal commentator. She's like, I'm going to. King Charles has a good gold toilet seat. He demands they bring it with him everywhere he goes. That's so funny. He should be at the Ritz-Carlton. Thank you. They are doing the coronation in conjunction with the astrological change of the ages. Very interesting. Well, it is true that they could have picked almost any dates because after a monarch dies, like the queen waited like 18 months before she had, her coronation. And this one felt a little fast. The date's interesting because it is the birthday of one of his grandsons. It's also the date of when Camilla and Charles's, collective grandfather would be, we don't know for sure, but Camilla's great grandfather and Charles's great great grandfather, Edward the Seventh. The date of his death. It's interesting. And then of course there's a holiday and everything like that. So we'll see. They are doing the coronation in conjunction. Okay. I would say no, but since Charles won't be king but 29 to 30 years at the most, then yes, there will be another coronation. Everyone is waiting on Will and Kate to be queen. I know. I would like to see it happen, Terry, when they're younger rather than when they're older. By the way, I hated Camilla, but I think she paid her dues. She is representing the royal family well. I've heard so many rumors about Diana saying Camilla did not break her marriage. The firm did. Yeah, we brought that up the other night too. I think Camilla she's been steady. She hasn't been, in my opinion, super exciting, but she does seem, I don't know, she seems kind of like somebody that you can hang out with. She seems easy and yet respectful of everything that they have there, with the exception of the fact that they had an affair. But that is back in the day, and we don't really know all of the things and, all of that. So, yeah. And I agree with you, Monica. Yeah, I just posted this video on this platform and then another one. And I just had this vibe. I was just like, gosh, there's just something intense about this time. And there's just this memory of Diana for me that keeps coming back up. And it's just, I don't know, it's really intense. Okay, I wondered why it has to do with an astrological event. I would be curious to look at that too. I would be curious to see it. Harry still has to put up a brave front, in my opinion. Yes, he does. So we want to know what Callie Singh is talking about regarding an astrological event. I wish it was William's coronation instead. Yes, interesting. Will you explain? Okay, so that's ridiculous. What's up with the men in toilets? Well, we do know what's up with men in toilets in general. Okay, listen, they used to have a groom of the stool way back in the day. Kings were known for having somebody take care of their bathroom. And they were really they would just go in front of everybody having a meeting. And in the castles, all they were just these holes that went into the moat, right? So a toilet, it was just a person with a chair and with the thing, and then they would clean it. They would clean off the king. They would take care of all of his private stuff. And that was a thing. And this person was the closest to the king. And so now, apparently, I've heard even some leaders travel with their own bathroom because they don't want anybody collecting any of their DNA. It's all stupid, but I have heard that King Charles does travel. I think he's definitely out of touch in that sense. There is no way, there's no reality that tells me that he could be, really understand what the people are going through. He's only lived a royal life. He's only lived in palaces and castles and stuff. And many of them. And of course, when he went to school, when he was younger, it was so difficult because it was so physical. Like, this child has been taken care of. So I don't think that he's very much in touch, to be honest, as much as maybe he tries. I just don't think it's true. Okay. So yes, it's true. There were the grooms of the stool. It's one of my favorite things that I discovered in history. You got to look it up. It's funny. In 2023, the location of the sun and moon, equinox constellation of Pisces, and also on the border of Aquarius. So we are slowly moving into a new age from Pisces to Aquarius, but not the age of Aquarius. Okay, so travels with a golden toilet seat. Too funny. Let's keep it real. Charles is old and not in the best of health. I don't believe he will sit on the throne, or maybe that throne, very long. And the one thing that I'm always worried about, that I always talk about here, guys, are his fingers. Why are you skipping? Why are you skipping over my comments? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first comment I've seen. So I have not put every single comment up there, but that is the first comment that I've seen. It shows May 6th versus Coronation because it's Prince Archie's birthday and the late Prince Margaret's birthday. Wow, I did not realize it. Did you know Meghan's birthday is the same as the Queen Mother? And I know because it's also my birthday, different year, but yeah. Okay, so I am going to, I am sorry. Let's not get mad. I am going through as many comments as possible, but yeah, no tantrums, no tantrums. I did not see a comment. I did not see it. Okay, I'm not going to let that distract me. Okay, so let's go and talk about the next slide here. Okay, let's talk about Tom Cruise. I'm going to talk about Tom Cruise a little bit. What in the world is his connection with with all of this? So he apparently is going to be hosting the show. So Tom Cruise is going to be hosting the show, and apparently he was close to Diana, and then because of his whole Top Gun thing, William loves him. So if you guys remember, this little picture on the right is of this. He just totally, it was a big faux pas, but Tom Cruise, William was on the other side, grabbed the princess's hand, which was not cool. But apparently he's going to be doing some skits. He's like a last minute addition to the show. So it says the 60-year-old actor is set to appear in a series of pre-recorded, I see, sketches and segments revealing little known facts about the king at the royal event on Sunday. So during the concert, there will be these little vignettes, probably to filler when they're changing over the stage or something to another act, of Tom Cruise. While the Mission Impossible star's participation may have come as a surprise to some, Cruise's links to the royals date back over 30 years. In 1992, Cruise's and then wife met that was Nicole Kidman, met Princess Diana at a London premiere of their romantic drama Far and Away. According to the royal expert Neil Sean, okay, Neil Sean is not always correct, but hey, Cruise and he's endearing. It seems like a very nice man. Cruise and Diana went on to become chums, and the actor was devastated at the death of Princess Diana. She was a magical person and really engulfed you with her personality, is what Cruise said. Cruise and Kidman. So anyhow, they were friends, and William later forged his own friendship with Cruise because of Top Gun Maverick. Cruise invited the royal couple after learning that William previously served as a pilot with the Royal Air Force, was a huge fan of the original film. So the screening was reportedly also attended by other. So anyhow, they have a connection. And so Tom Cruise now apparently is going to be having his little vignettes. I don't know if he'll be there, but that's the case. So I don't think we need to go into the royal family tree thing, but I just briefly mentioned that there is a question on whether or not Camilla and Charles are indeed related closer than what people think. And I've discussed it before because Alice Keppel was a mistress of Edward VII. She had daughters, Violet, and I believe Sonia. I think her name was Sonia. Sonia is the grandmother of Camilla Shand. And so she would have been basically her great grandmother was the mistress of Edward VII, one of his mistresses, but his best and most favorite mistress. And so that's also Charles's great grandfather. So there's a possibility that they're like half second-ish cousins. So anyhow, that's the deal there. Saturn enters part of the sky. The rules with Pisces. Okay, this is like talking physics to me. This is an astrological influence that hasn't occurred since 1996. Do you think he will mention his late? Oh, never in a million years. There's no way, but that would be cool. That would be very interesting. Is he going to mention Princess Diana there? I seriously doubt it. I mean, I don't know. I was wondering, like, was he like when she died, was he like, oh, I'm so relieved. I hate to say it. Or was he literally like crushed by that? Because some people said, contrary to what people think, it was a really hard thing for him. So I was just curious to what you guys thought. Like, do you think it was something that was legitimately, something that he was concerned with, or do you think it was like, oh, great, now I can do my own thing? I know I'm being blunt here. I'm not trying to be, but yeah. So the most popular royals are Princess Anne, Kate, and William. And then, okay, so this is interesting. They're saying, let me read your questions first. Yeah, I know. It does seem like that, but she's also wearing Diana's designer like clothes by Bruce Oldfield. So there's a lot of that. It's sort of like, well, it's just part of a royal thing, right? I'm making a title about people who are only famous and have power because of their distant descendants won battles against. That is true. That's true. It's all a little crazy. And that is why there's an entire group of people who are like, what the heck is this? But you can say that. Wait, let me put your comment up. You can say this about, and I'd love to hear what other people have to say. It is crazy. That's why as Americans, we're like, no, we're not going to have a king. I don't know if you know this, but at one point, George, through in between the Continental Congress and what we have now, they were wanting George Washington to become a monarch. So they leave, and yet they're like, hey, let's do the whole king thing. And he's like, I don't even have the right amount of descendants, and I refuse. So, yeah, we don't have that, but it is very much a part of the culture in England. And the truth is, absolutely, there's no way to even legitimize some of this royal blood because back then they didn't have the DNA thing. I'm interested in it because of, a personal story that I had, which was that went to Windsor years ago. A little rock fell at my feet. I just read my genealogy, and I was related to William the Conqueror through a daughter of his named Gundred. Gundred then was canceled by this historian. But she had been around and had been granted all of these lands. Even on her grave, it says she's the daughter of William the Conqueror. But 800 years later, they are like, no, she's not the daughter. Like, so history is weird like that. It's kind of stupid like that. And yes, I understand the craziness of the royal family, but it's still fascinating to me because I love history. So, and I will make many live streams on the subject. Okay, my brain hurts just thinking that Meghan had such an opportunity to be an important piece of something much bigger than herself. She was very much embraced. Like, I think, and I've said this before, I think she was doing a great job, But that's the thing that ticks me off too. I get really upset about it, just like you, because I'm like, what in the world were they doing? Like, really, what did they do? Think of it. Like, what a great opportunity in your life to have a situation where, you can be in something spectacular. And in all honesty, being a movie star, yeah, that's great. But this is something so extraordinary and so exceptional. And you've got to love history and you've got to love your own lineage. I mean, I was sort of shocked when Prince Harry in his book was mentioning that he hardly even knew his own family history. So just because they're royals doesn't mean that they have a love for their own family history. But if they did, and they appreciated what all of this was, in spite of all the drama, because there's so much drama and there's so much hypocrisy and messes and dysfunction, it's there. But that you have to appreciate the overarching picture of what being a royal is, right? And what it looks like. So she, in my opinion, and he basically, there are things that you can do to get yourself out of favor. And I think the king held so much favor even for Harry for such a long time. But I do think they're at that point where they're like, look, this is, I'm the king. I mean, I feel like the king basically was bowing to Harry so much, like, please come, please do this. And at this point, it's sort of like, look, we still want you here, but we're not going to, you're not the main show here. So anyhow, Princess Diana will always have the hearts. The royal family. Yes. Well, I'm so confused about that, Debbie. Debbie says, and I don't know. There are many things that I think, and I hold that out as a possibility but then the accident, the guy was drunk. I don't know. I'm very conflicted with that, but I do entertain the thought, but I'm not sure. Princess Diana will always have the hearts of the people. She gave him 2 beautiful sons who grew up with as a fine gentleman. He wouldn't have the family exactly, but I don't think he was a man. I'm posting a short on it. I posted a short on it here today, where Prince William had to console Diana because during the divorce proceedings, and you just go look at the short that I made. It's just 1 minute, because he stripped her of her HRH title. Charles did, even though Queen Elizabeth was in favor of her keeping it as part of her, her negotiations for her divorce. She wanted to keep it because she would one day be the mother of a king. And without the HRH, she had to then bow to so many others that she didn't really want to bow to, including her own children. So, anyhow, then William was like, well, when I become king, I will give that back to you. So Charles, I don't feel is, where he may be sensitive with his sons right now, especially Harry. I don't think he's sensitive like that. I don't think he's considerate like that. I don't think he would ever do that. I think he was, like I said, if he would have recognized the genius of how she was, because in many ways she had a genius about her. I don't even think she knew it, but she had a genius about her. And if he was wise enough and he was sensitive enough to that, he would have let her maintain that, and had it worked for the royal family to keep the royal family like basically have a good front man, a good lead singer for the band. That's how Diana would be. But he will not acknowledge her. Personally, I think that Charles was, I don't think Charles was sad, thinking of himself again. Yeah, he probably wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I think he was sad for his sons. Camilla is the love of his life, and she should be confident in that. Absolutely. But remember, there was like this conversation with Diana where she was like, hey, what are you doing? I know what's going on here. And then Camilla was like, well, what do you want? And she's like, I want my husband. Yes, he is gone. What does Princess Anne's role? Okay, I haven't been on top of that, but I think she was given the role of sort of like she's riding a horse or something to lead him in. Somebody may be able to tell me a little bit clearer, but she's something else. She's amazing. She's amazing. She works so hard. She's very blunt, always has been, always was the best daughter to her mother. She was almost killed in a kidnapping years ago. Like Anne is incredible. She's incredible. So just very smart. She should have been some kind of queen if they had allowed it. Meghan and Harry are being groomed to lead the opposition group of the, okay. Well, I'm not going to put that up just because of a couple of the initials. I got to kind of watch some things, but that's interesting, Callie, because I have been wondering like what the end game is of this, and it definitely does seem like at the end of the day, what are they doing? It's like they're trying to bring it down. So I do think that that's the case. Princess Diana had no security and the driver was drunk and speeding. Anne is the protector. Yeah. There's an official, is it just the protector? Or there's a protector of something. I don't know. Yeah. And she is riding on a horse. So protector of something. So yeah. So I think whether or not the monarchy will last, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I don't know. It will remain to be seen. I think that there is a strong argument for it to last because people do want to see William and Kate, go to get into that position. I don't know. I was a little concerned because it does seem like things are definitely shifting. And having a battle to maintain the monarchy is nothing new. It's been going on forever and ever. Okay. So the timeline is that tomorrow, are you guys ready? Let me get it again. 6 a.m. public viewing areas. This is their time. So like 3 hours from now, there's going to be public viewing areas open for keen beans along the main procession route. Okay, 7:15, Westminster Abbey guests will start to arrive for security checks. That'll be 2:30 our time. My water cooler is buzzing now. Live TV coverage at 7:30. I'm not going to be up then. 9:30, that's going to be 4:30-ish our time. VIP coronation guests are expected to arrive. So here we go. 10:20 a.m., which is about 5:20 a.m. Eastern time. The royal procession from Buckingham Palace will kick off. Charles and Camilla will travel in the Diamond Jubilee coach, leaving the Central Arch and passing many London landmarks at 11 o'clock. So if some of us want to sleep in a little late, we could sleep till 6. The coronation ceremony will begin. The part where the crown is actually placed on the king's head will probably happen at around midday, just after the secret sacred anointing ceremony. There's one part of the ceremony that's never been televised. It's secret. It's very secret. The coronation will probably last around 2 hours, and the second procession will take place back to Buckingham Palace. This will be on a much larger scale. It's basically going to be a breakfast thing for us. We're all going to have to have our cup of coffee, probably in our robes, watching this thing. This will be a much larger scale. 1:45, the royal salute will take place. 2:15. Okay, let me think back. By 10 o'clock, basically, the 15 royal family members, including Prince William and Kate Middleton, will take their positions at Buckingham Palace balcony. They'll give a nice wave to commoners, and then they're off. And then on the 7th, there's big lunches at the coronation concert. 12 o'clock, the public is encouraged to host big lunches, which are they're supposed to cook the quiche, the coronation quiche, rather than the coronation chicken, although they could do coronation chicken. Pubs will also be open later. Of course, got to have the beer. 8 p.m., the coronation concert at Windsor Castle kicks off. On Monday, they are off because it's a bank holiday, and there's the big help out. So that's the schedule, guys. Okay, rubbing olive oil on King Charles' chest is a secret. Don't tell anybody. I know. Well, you do know the story about the oil, that it's coming from the Mount of Olives, where his grandmother, Alice, is buried. Fascinating stuff to me. And that is something that somebody like Callie or people who are interested in the prophetic aspects of this ceremony might be interested in, because it's fascinating that she is buried there. and the anointing oil is being made by these like Greek priests because he's got that Greek side to him. And then that is going to be taken in the very gardens where his grandmother is buried. I find that fascinating. So maybe a steady rain will be a good thing given the controversy, in my opinion. Yeah, possibly. Coronation chicken is a sweet version of chicken salad. I'm going to go get chicken salad, and this is what I'm doing. I'm watching the coronation in the morning. I'm going down to the farmer's market. I'm getting my family like some bagels and I don't know, something else. I'll probably come back, take a nap, and hang out by the pool. And then later, maybe I'll come back on. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm going to sign off in a second, but you're right. This is what I'm saying. I think that Charles probably is too soft on Harry, but I think Harry's going to have a rude awakening because I think pretty soon they're going to be over it. They're going to be over that. And it's wild to me that Harry thinks that he's like the center of like that everybody's thinking about him and Meghan, and they're so important all the time. And nobody's even talked about them this weekend. This is another little, it's called Sweet V Crowns. Again, they're not sponsoring this. They didn't tell me to, they just gave me a code. This crown reminds me of, it's probably going to fade out with the green screen behind me, but it reminds me of Princess Eugenie's crown with the emeralds. So if any of you guys are interested in crowns, I have no reason to wear them, except I do live near Disney World. And technically in Orlando, if you walk around with a crown, people don't really say anything because it looks better than the ears that most people wear. So, okay, wait. I didn't know you mentioned Pope Francis. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Jude. Yeah. So there's a tiny piece of the cross, like Christ's cross, tiny. They're like slivers that were given to King Charles for this coronation to put on the cross that's going to be carried in. So he basically has part of the crucifixion cross on his cross, which is an amazing, interesting thing. And thank you for bringing that up because I forgot. I hope the coronation goes off smoothly as well. Yeah, and Meghan's a princess. Prince Archie's birth certificate says Princess Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Interesting. Really? Are you kidding me? I've never heard anybody call her princess, except for whatever. I've never heard that. We are holy crap. We are moving to Florida next year from San Francisco. Listen, I have, after this whole thing, I'm going to be doing mainly content about my Midwest house that I bought with they were my great grandparents' house. It's a great story. It's why I started Hot for History. But most of the year I'm living in Florida, and I love it. I love it here. I love the weather. It depends. I was living right next to Disney, but now I'm living kind of in a better community that's not all touristy. I don't like the touristy thing. So I like being in Florida a lot. But I go back to the Midwest as well. I saw a photo of the coronation cross. It's on a Catholic website. Oh, okay. I didn't see it yet. She's actually Princess Henry of Sussex. I guess I just didn't know that. Why didn't I know that? Family House is great. You guys got to follow the Family House thing. I cannot wait to get there. I've had to delay it because my daughter is having graduation from high school. So just kidding. So I've had to wait. So it's not going to happen till June, but I will be doing a lot of content then. So I think that's it for tonight. We all need to go to bed, have a good night's sleep, make sure that we get our coffee ready in the morning, watch it. I'm not going to do a live simulcast. I will come in later in the day and talk about it. I think it's going to be really fun. I wish I was in the UK. It looks so much fun. And I will talk to you guys later. I appreciate all of your support and have a really, really good night. Bye.